half of my work is related to the practice side. So lately what we've been asked to think about is how to contain the cost of nurse onboarding. So the CFO, CMO, CNO, all the O's are calling the SimLab, asking us to think about how do we make nurse onboarding more cost effective. So they're not necessarily saying to shorten it. I think they understand that nurses need time to practice and be onboarded, but they're asking us to think about how do we decrease the cost overall, because I guess you can imagine in New York City, onboarding a new grad nurse could cost up to $40,000 to $50,000, up to maybe 40 to 70% of their salary. And I'm hearing some of you are saying that faculty are one of the main costs of it. And I'm also thinking about, my previous work is a nurse educator in the hospital side, so deeply involved with nurse onboarding. And the old model was if a new grad nurse wasn't ready at the end of their 8 or 12-week orientation, sometimes we extend it. But in this climate where we're asking to do more with less, I'm inclined to think, well, if a new grad nurse cannot demonstrate practice readiness quickly, then we might need to move towards terminating that employment before the costs adds up, and that's a big concern for me. So my question to the panel is, any ideas of how to contain the cost of that? I'm really keen to hear your comments on it.
Okay. Rocky, and then Damien, do you have, and Chris. And Sissel has a comment, right? Okay. On the same topic, Chris Sissel? Okay. Okay, more general. I'll come back to you on the comment.
My first thought, again, is back to the experience. As I'm learning in relationship-based care, we don't stay in marriages anymore if we're not happy. If we were looking at cost containment in the workforce, shouldn't we invest in our employees and onboard them and keep them longer? My dad was in his job for 40, 50 years. What's the average length of a job? 3 to 5 years now? I think part of that cost containment, if not a big part, is employee satisfaction, which will lead to patient satisfaction.
Thanks, Rocky. Damien and Chris? Oh, Damien, no. Chris, yes.
So this is a soapbox of mine, so I'm going to try and keep it really short. But part of the problem is that the environment that we are sending nurses into in acute care today is untenable. And so the tension comes between what we've prepared them for and the actual reality. I just spent this summer another week, 40 hours, shadowing a nurse in a general care unit, on a med-surg unit. She's the same nurse that I shadowed 2 years ago. The change in the job is almost mind-blowing. The expectations and the work is almost, it's beyond unacceptable. So it doesn't surprise me that there's tension. I mean, what I saw in a 12-hour day, actually multiple, 5 12-hour days, is that the work is fast-paced. It is complex. It is multiple needs at the same time. The workload, the patient load, the number of patients in 2 years increased by 1.5 because the turnover of patients is so quickly. You are admitting and discharging in that week that I worked with this nurse, we together admitted and discharged 21 patients. And so you know how big admitting and discharging is, and then cared for everybody in between. I truly left the first day thinking, I don't know if I can ethically work with pre-licensure students anymore to help them go into this horrid environment. And by the third day, I was really, really, really depressed. So I think the problem is that we need to focus on what is the work environment. The onboarding isn't the issue. The issue is how can you onboard somebody, and it's no surprise to me that the turnover rate in acute care today is so fast. You know, the average length of stay for a nurse is less than 2 years now in a unit because they can't stand it. So they think they'll go to another unit and then they stay 2 years and then they go, and it's because of the environment. I actually think that and by the end of the week, my idea was